most of my life, I have dealt with the fear of heights. I say most of my life, actually it's been all of my life. And growing up in the back hills of Kentucky, there were many opportunities to prove that I really was afraid of heights. From old rickety wooden swinging bridges to a state park called Natural Bridge State Park, where this rock formation spanned a really high distance, and walking across that was really difficult for me. At that same state park, there was a chairlift that took you up to the top so that you could go across that bridge. And I struggled with that. In fact, on my honeymoon with Marcia, we tried to take a chairlift up to the top, or she suggested that we take a chairlift up to the top of the mountain to go ice skating, and I can't do it. It's extremely, extremely difficult for me because of my fear of heights. One of the ways that this fear plays out in my life is as I travel across bridges. If they are high and the water below is very far down, I panic. My grip on the steering wheel gets pretty tight. I don't want to talk. My breathing becomes very labored, and it almost paralyzes me. For some people, it actually does. There have been reports that people so paralyzed with fear of heights will stop in the middle of these bridges and they just can't go forward. In fact, that fear is so prominent that back in the early 90s, they created what was called a timid motorist program. Let me give you a couple of numbers. In 1991, Michigan's timid motorist program assisted 830 drivers across the Mackinac Bridge, which is 5 miles long and rises 200 feet above the water. So you drive up to this bridge, you can stop, you get out, and there's an assistant that will come and drive you across the bridge. So 830 times in 1991, Michigan workers did this for drivers across the Mackinac Bridge. At Maryland's Chesapeake Bay Bridge, which is over 4 miles long and rises 200 feet above the water, authorities took the wheel and helped 1,000 fearful motorists across the bridge. It's a real thing, this fear of heights. And crossing bridges is not the only time that kind of fear shows up in our lives. What we've seen, especially during this pandemic, is fear grip people in ways that have paralyzed them. Whether it's in a work setting or in a church setting or just in general in their life, the fear of this pandemic has gripped their spirit, gripped their soul to the degree that they've just become paralyzed. And what they would normally do, they can't function in. They can't seem to accomplish it because of fear. And I understand that fear, but I would like to add to that life has to go on. We have to function. We have to continue to do things in our lives for our families, for our schools, for our workplaces, for our churches, for ourselves. We can't be so gripped by fear that we become paralyzed. So one of the things that I'd like to bring to your attention is in Psalm 56, verse 3. David says this, "When I am afraid, I put my trust in you." And he's talking to God. So when I'm afraid, David says, I put my trust in God. So we come into this season of our life where this pandemic is gripping us and we're beginning to have fear overwhelm us. And David would say at this point, you should put your trust in God. You pull up to the bridge of this pandemic and you get out and you ask for assistance. God, would you come? Would you take the wheel of my life and would you drive for a few moments? Get me across this. And that may sound cliche and too simplified, but it really is a reality for a follower of Christ. That we put our hope and trust in Him because He is the author and the perfecter of our faith. If we can trust God with our eternity to give us what we need to get to heaven instead of being damned to hell, does it not stand to reason that we can also trust Him to get us through this pandemic? I just wanted to send a word of encouragement to you that God's got you. He is not surprised by this. We've said that often. He is not surprised by this. He is aware and He is here and He is active. And He's got you. Just give Him control of the wheel. Let Him get you across this bridge. Well, God bless you. Just know that we're praying for you, that we love you. And if there's ever anything that I or my church can do for you, reach out to us. We'd love to help in any way we can. God bless you and have a good day.